Previously, Wooin beat the hell out of Jisuk's friends and came face to face with him. The two battled it out until their battle was stopped by Seongha and In-hyuk, and it was decided that the two would battle it out against each other at Shinhwa's headquarters. In that back-and-forth battle, both Wooin and Jisuk gave everything they had to beat their opponent, and they were both on the brink of collapsing, but still powered through their pain through sheer will. The fact that only 3 other teens in their country are known to be on the same rank as Jisuk, but despite this, Wooin is still holding himself against him. Seongha is really surprised by his powers and wonders how Delane managed to train such a powerful awakened one. With a shocked look on his face, Jiwoo keeps thinking about why Wooin and Jisuk are fighting each other. They both have now brought out every last ounce of power they have inside them and attack each other at the same time. The impact from their blows rattles the whole arena, and the shock waves are so strong that Ji-young has to rush toward Ji-woo to protect her future meat provider. She even gives him a bombastic side-eye since it is obviously important for the plot development. Based on the intensity of the battle, Seongha and In-hyuk can't believe that this is just a battle between 2 adolescent teenagers, and Daddy Caden gives his famous smirk of approval. Their battle continues, and both Seongha and In-hyuk think that the boys will end up getting seriously injured if this fight continues further, so they stop them both. Caden's mood is ruined, as obviously, who doesn't want to see 2 teenagers fight to death, right? Jisuk asks In-hyuk why he is interfering in the match, so he tells him that it is enough. However, Jisuk keeps on insisting, so Ji-young tells him to go against her if he wants to fight that bad. Obviously, he denies it, because there is no way he has the slightest bit of a chance of winning against her. On the other side, Wooin tells Seongha that he wants to keep fighting too, so In-hyuk asks why he wants to fight Jisuk so badly. Hearing this, Wooin looks at Ji-woo, and everyone wonders if he is fighting Jisuk because of Ji-woo. Jisuk confirms their suspicion by saying that Wooin kept asking him about Ji-woo. Jisuk finds it strange that Wooin attacked him because of what he did to Ji-woo, but Wooin knows that this isn't the end of the story, and tells everyone that Jisuk and his friend have been bullying Ji-woo at school for some time now. In-hyuk and Ji-young look at Jisuk with a thirst for blood in their eyes, and Jisuk can't even say anything as there's some truth to what Wooin is saying. Unexpectedly, Ji-woo joins the conversation and tells Wooin that he got his injuries by fighting Jisuk, but he was the one who wanted to fight him in the first place. Suddenly, a question about why Ji-woo is here pops into In-hyuk's mind, so Ji-woo reveals that Jisuk called him and told him that some guys were going to come get him. Jisuk did all that because he wanted to show him in person how powerful his awakened abilities really are, and it was pure luck that he managed to hit him. How cocky can one person be to gloat about his abilities in front of an injured patient? Later on, Jisuk, Wooin, and Ji-woo are all admitted in the same hospital room. Putting 2 tsunderes in a room, what could go wrong? Jisuk isn't happy about being there as he thinks that he is totally fine, and surprisingly, Wooin agrees with him. However, In-hyuk tells him that it is necessary that he gets his health monitored. While the fat cat wholesomely sleeps with Ji-woo, our Cinnamon smiles as he revels in his reverse harem and won't be bored any longer. In Ji-young's office, Seongha questions her decision to put all 3 of those rascals in the same hospital, as Jisuk and Wooin don't really get along with each other. In-hyuk gets angry after hearing what he said, as he thinks that he is trying to question Ji-young's decision, but Ji-young tells them that the boys are the faces that will represent their country in the future, so they aren't meant to be enemies. So she thinks that it's better for the 3 to hang around each other to settle their differences, as an upcoming event is approaching and they need to prepare for it. In-hyuk then asks Seongha how he plans on caring for Wooin, as the union thinks poorly of him and Dr. Delane. He offers to take Wooin from his hands, but he is already registered under the union's management. However, In-hyuk thinks that Seongha is not looking out for his well-being and is watching him only because he is Delane's student. He then mockingly asks Seongha if he plans to make Woo-in a union member after seeing his potential. Seongha remains silent as usual, and In-hyuk keeps trying to get on his nerves. His phone suddenly starts to ring, and someone tells him that Jisuk and Woo-in are going at it again, so he, along with Seongha, rushes to their room. Meanwhile, Jisuk and Woo-in are battling each other in a card game, and Jisuk argues that he accidentally dropped a card by mistake and should be able to put a new card down. However, Woo-in is reluctant to let his mistake slide, saying that if he lets him off this time, he will use it as an excuse for every bad play he makes. As the two are looking at each other menacingly, Seongha and In-hyuk arrive there with, "I'm gonna beat your ass" written on their faces. In-hyuk is extremely pissed that Jisuk is bringing out his powers for a mere card game. Jisuk replies that it's Woo-in's fault for pissing him off, so In-hyuk threatens him by saying that he is pissing him off too. Seongha scolds Woo-in as well. However, the one who apologizes first is Ji-woo, as he feels like it is his fault for forcing them to play when they didn't want to. However, In-hyuk doesn't think that it is his fault, as he just wanted to play a game of cards and feels like the ones to blame are the other two who got angry over a petty game. Caden thinks that In-hyuk shouldn't interrupt the hot-blooded children, as they will learn eventually if he lets them just fight it out. Daddy Caden thinks that the key to solving every mystery of the universe is simply to just fight. In-hyuk then gets all giggly-wiggly inside seeing how cute Kasane Nitrate is looking, and Jisuk asks him if it is normal for a cat to eat that much. Grabbing his collar, In-hyuk dares Jisuk to say what he said again, and questions him if cats aren't allowed to have a big appetite. Kinda respect In-hyuk for never letting his temper get the best of him unless someone talks about his precious fat boy. However, it's surprising that Caden didn't destroy them all then and there for commenting about his appetite. He kinda just accepts his obesity now. In-hyuk then gives Caden even more treats to munch on, and Ji-woo asks him if he can drop by his house today, as even though he is taking care of his cats for him, he still wants to see them for himself since he misses them. There is absolutely no chance that someone would refuse Ji-woo when he makes that puppy face, and since Ji-woo's health is a lot better now, In-hyuk agrees to take him home. Ji-woo then asks Woo-in if he wants to come with him, and eventually, all of them decide to just go to Ji-woo's home together. I'm totally in for this awkward friendship triangle. A gifted hothead, a badass rookie, and a powerful sunflower introvert. Arriving at his home, Ji-woo immediately goes towards his cats and gives all of them some warm hugs. Caden gets his fair share of rubs and hugs as well. Woo-in notices the gray cat sleeping peacefully on a sofa, and Ji-woo tells him that the cat is doing much better. But ever since that incident, it's been sleeping all day like Snorlax and doesn't care about what happens around him. Woo-in seems worried, but Ji-woo assures him that there is nothing wrong with the cat. Ji-woo even found out through security camera footage that Woo-in was leaving animals and money in front of the vet clinic for treatment. Those animals were also used in tests, but Woo-in would tell Delane they had died and then take them to the vet. When Ji-woo tells him that all the cats are recovering well, a sense of calm appears on his face, and all of Ji-woo's cats start to get clingy with him. Jisuk is perplexed, seeing all the cats roaming around, and Ji-woo feels embarrassed that his house is all messy because he has been gone for some time, so he starts cleaning up and In-hyuk offers to help him. Ji-woo feels reluctant to make him clean the house, but In-hyuk tells him that it's fine. He had cleaned the house yesterday too, but the cats still managed to cause all this mess in just a single day. However, the cat freaks even get amused by that, as they think that the cats are simply energetic. Seeing them obsessing over cats, Jisuk wonders if that's how crazy cat enjoyers usually act. Seeing all the cats, he thinks that this place isn't suitable for humans to live in. Suddenly, a cat pops up and starts to play around his leg, making even the stone-hearted Jisuk fall for its cuteness. However, when he sees Caden, Caden gives him an angry look, so he asks Ji-woo why that cat gives him an annoyed look every time he looks at him. Ji-woo replies that he doesn't know, and In-hyuk out of nowhere grabs him by the collar as he thinks that he is trying to bully the cat and wants to whoop his buttocks. He thinks that even the annoyed and angry looks that Caden gives are adorable, and it's a part of his charm. He proceeds to convey his point by making an example that humans give an irritated expression too, so why can't the cat do the same? The way In-hyuk loves and cares for Mr. Caden makes me wonder what will happen when he finds out that the fat cat is Caden. He will probably go like I tried to rub his belly multiple times and die out of embarrassment. When In-hyuk looks at Seong-ha, he thinks that something is wrong with him and sees him flinching with a cat right in front of him. He realizes that Seong-ha is afraid of cats. With an evil look on his face, he tries to throw the cat towards Seong-ha, so he tries to rush out of the room and says that he will wait in the car. In-hyuk makes fun of him even more, saying that one of the top 20 on Korea's power list is afraid of cats. Seong-ha replies that he isn't afraid of the cats, but feels annoyed. Plus, he has no reason to stay inside the house. However, the mad lad In-hyuk keeps making fun of him, and Seong-ha gets ready to give him a beating until Ji-woo begs them to stop and tells everyone to sit down. Caden feels that these past days have been really uncomfortable with all these people around, as he has to act like a cat in front of all these people. In-hyuk keeps on bullying Seong-ha, and Ji-woo goes into the kitchen to make drinks for everyone. Later on, In-hyuk goes back to Shinhwa's headquarters and tells Ji-young that the three boys will sleep over tonight and return to the hospital tomorrow to get one final checkup. Knowing her brother, she is surprised that he has agreed to a sleepover. At Ji-woo's home, the trio are laying together, and Ji-suk is wondering what he is even doing there. Ji-woo keeps smiling and blushing, so Ji-suk asks, why is he acting like that? So he tells him that it is the first time he has ever had friends over to stay for the night. He has never been to a friend's house or had friends until now, and hearing this, Ji-suk remembers In-hyuk telling him that Ji-woo wasn't aware of his abilities, so he's been scared that the others would find out. He and his mom kept moving around, and because of that, he grew distant from people and lived a very lonely life. Just like Ji-woo, Woo-in has never been to a sleepover because he has been traveling with the professor since he was young. Ji-suk doesn't like the depressing aura that developed all of a sudden and thinks of the other two as pathetic losers who have no friends at all. When they ask Ji-suk if he has ever been to a sleepover, he tells them that he isn't like them. Suddenly, the reality hits him hard and remembers that he has never had a sleepover himself. However, he feels like he can't act like the other losers, but his silence already gives the answer, and they look at him with sympathy in their eyes. He gets angry because of that, and keeps on getting angry and making more excuses. He's such a tsundere. In a dream, Woo-in is reliving his past memories. People always talked behind his back, as whichever school he went to, he got famous for being a loner that doesn't talk and transfers schools all the time. During his days with Delane, he once told him that the animals had died and that he got rid of them. There was only one cat left in Delane's possession, and even though he thinks that the cat won't survive any more tests, he still intends to do experiments on the cat after a few hours if it gets only a little better. Before going, he told Woo-in to feed the cat dinner. As he gave him food, the cat licked his palm, and he felt disgusted that they were harming the cat, but it was still showing affection to him. So when the professor came back after a few hours and demanded Woo-in to bring the cat, he told him that the cat died and he had buried it on a hill. He suddenly wakes up in the present panting and wondering why he was dreaming about his early days. It is 6 o'clock, and looking around, he sees that everyone is still asleep. Looking at the gray cat, he thinks that it's probably a side effect of the experimentation that the cat is sleeping all the time. Ji-suk wakes up all of a sudden and thinks that it's uncomfortable sleeping in there. Seeing him going outside, Woo-in asks him where he is going, so Ji-suk tells him that it shouldn't concern him and slams the door shut, which wakes up Ji-woo and the cats. He asks Woo-in if that was Ji-suk going outside. Woo-in then tells him that he is going out too. and Caden finally lets out a sigh of relief as he couldn't talk with them around and even had to watch his actions. The stress was driving the grumpy fat cat crazy, and Jiwoo knew that Caden wouldn't be very comfortable because of them, so he was worried about him. However, Caden thinks that he wasn't really worried about him, as he was happily spending time with those two. Caden is so jealous, one could say that he is turning into a perfect replication of a cat. Jiwoo literally gives an hour-long speech as his apology to Caden, so Caden tells him that he is merely joking. Since he wasn't able to work on his abilities for a while, Caden tells him that he needs to train hard if doesn't want to lose to them. Out of nowhere, Jiwoo asks Caden if he was upset because he didn't pay attention to him. The amount of cringe and disgust Caden felt after hearing this knew no bounds, and he asked Jiwoo, the little twit, if he wants to die. Going outside, Jiwoo dances like a fairy, after breathing in the fresh breeze and feeds all the stray cats around the neighborhood one by one. Seeing him feed all those cats, Caden thinks that he doesn't understand Jiwoo at all, and asks him if he doesn't get tired of it. Jiwoo feeds the cat because he likes it, and tells Caden that he loves these cats the same as the cats back home. Afterward, Jiwoo notices a man coming towards him with two vicious dogs. He tells the people around that the demon-looking dogs don't bite, and seeing Caden, he asks Jiwoo what did he even do to make the cat so fat, as he has never seen a cat that fat in his whole life. If only In-hyuk saw this man fat-shaming casein nitrate. When the dogs start to growl at Caden, he laughs in arrogance and tells them to stop as they could make the fat cat faint. Little does he know that the fat is just a show of his ultimate power, and the power is so extreme that it bulges out from his body. Seeing the dogs, Caden thinks that he should have changed into a dog instead of this fat cat. He would probably be a super fluffy Pomeranian if he were a dog, but even as a fat cat, the great Caden is still a top dog. The dogs scare their owner for a second, as it seemed like they were going to attack Caden. But the massive dogs have acknowledged the far superior and more terrifying creature, and Caden gives them pats on the head with his cute little paws. This is where the video ends. Please like and subscribe.